You know what is funny in a very not funny way? We are the generation that can explain attachment styles, trauma responses, inner child work, and emotional neglect in perfect internet language. But none of us are sure we actually want kids, not because we hate children, because we are terrified of becoming the boss level villain in someone else's therapy session. Welcome back to Simply Chaos, the channel for people who have a whole folder of parenting advice saved on their phone but cannot even keep a houseplant alive without apologizing to it. Today, we are talking about something very specific and very cursed. What happens when the most emotionally self aware, chronically exhausted, over therapized generation tries to become the healthy parents they never had? The pressure of being the cycle breaker, the anxiety of gentle parenting, the iPad kid paradox, and why the bar in your head for being a good parent is secretly set so high that literally no human could reach it. Let us start with the original promise. Somewhere in your childhood, probably in the middle of being yelled at for something tiny, you made a silent vow. I will never talk to my kid like this. I will never make them feel this small. I will never let them cry alone in their room the way I did. Maybe you did not say it out loud. Maybe you just stared at the ceiling at night and thought, if I ever have a child, they will know they are loved every second. They will never have to guess. You grow up, you discover the internet, you learn words like generational trauma and attachment wounds and emotional regulation. Suddenly, the story is not just my parents were strict, it becomes my nervous system was shaped in a war zone disguised as a living room. And that vow upgrades. It is not just I will not scream, it becomes I will be calm, perfectly regulated, endlessly patient, fully healed before I even think of having a child. You are not trying to be a parent. You are trying to be a corrective experience with legs, and under that sounds like growth, but also underneath that sounds like this. If I am not perfect, I am dangerous. If I slip once, I am the monster. So, of course, being a parent sounds terrifying. You already feel guilty for snapping at your friends in group chats when you are overstimulated. Now imagine a tiny human who cannot log off. No wonder you look at babies and think, aw, they are so cute, and then immediately think absolutely not. I am still the baby. Here is where it gets even messier. You grew up under one style of parenting. Maybe it was loud and controlling, maybe it was distant and cold, maybe it was chaotic and unpredictable. Whatever it was, you know exactly what you hated. So you swing in the opposite direction. You discover gentle parenting videos, soft voices, explanations, kneeling down to toddler eye level. You watch a creator calmly narrating their child's tantrum like a nature documentary. I see that you are having some big feelings because the banana peeled wrong and it is okay to feel sad. And you think, oh yes, this is how you break the cycle. No more because I said so. No more shut up. Only deep empathy and tiny podcasts with a 3-year-old. Then your brain quietly adds a rule. If I ever raise my voice, I have failed. If I ever say no without a paragraph of context, I have failed. If my kid is ever mad at me, I have failed. This is how gentle parenting slowly mutates in your anxiety into something else. Not I will be kind and firm, but I will be endlessly soft and never upsetting. Not I will guide you, but I will protect you from ever feeling discomfort longer than 10 seconds. You are so allergic to becoming the parent who scared you that you accidentally delete the idea of limits at all. You stop imagining yourself as a parent. You imagine yourself as an emotional support human with a child attached. And then reality walks in. Reality looks like this. You are on 3 hours of sleep. Your brain is fried from work. Your phone keeps buzzing. Your kid is screaming because the blue cup feels wrong on a cellular level. You try the calm script. You kneel down. You validate the feeling. You narrate. You breathe. You explain. You validate again. You breathe again. You repeat the boundary. And your nervous system is like Mayday, Mayday, we are about to explode. There is a version of you inside thinking the old sentence. If I talked to my parents like this, I would not have teeth. Another version is thinking if I lose it now, I will traumatize them forever. You are not just calming a child. You are wrestling every ghost of every adult voice you grew up with. That is the part the soothing TikTok sounds never fully show. It is not just gentle parenting the kid in front of you, it is reparenting the kid inside you while that kid screams through a different body. And then there is the technology problem. You, the future cycle breaking parent, have very strong opinions about screens. You have read the threads. You have seen the videos about attention span and nervous system dysregulation. You swear you will not be that parent who just hands over a tablet in a restaurant. Your future child will color. They will read. They will talk about their feelings over pasta. Now, picture this: it is day 3 of no proper sleep. You have not had a single thought that was not about snacks, laundry, or bills. Your kid is melting down in public. Your own nervous system is hanging by a single frayed wire. And there it is, the glowing rectangle of peace, the thing you swore you would never rely on. You hear the judgmental voices in your head. You hear gentle parenting audio from your saved videos. You also hear your own brain whispering, I cannot do this without a break. You open the app. You hand over the screen. Instant silence. Relief floods your body so fast, it is almost spiritual. Here is the paradox: you are not a hypocrite. You are a human being trying to parent in a world where entire companies are designed to hijack your child's brain and yours. You are trying to heal your own trauma, survive an economy on hard mode, answer emails, manage your mental health, build some kind of career, and also raise a stable, emotionally literate person without ever making a mistake. Of course, you are on the verge of burnout before the baby even exists. Here is the darkest, funniest twist. You have so much information about parenting that your inner critic has become a professional supervisor. Your parents mostly had vibes and whatever their parents did. You have research, threads, podcasts, therapy posts, healing accounts, comments calling everything toxic, and a million think pieces about what ruins a child. Every choice feels like a referendum on your moral worth. You do not just think, am I a good parent? You think, am I a good nervous system architect for this brand new person? You see a video about how yelling once can rewire a brain and you make a mental note. Do not yell. You see another about the importance of boundaries and you make a note. Do not be a doormat. You see another about how screens are destroying childhood and you make a note. No screens. Another about not restricting too much or your kid will binge and you make a note. Do not be controlling. By the end, your parenting notes app looks like a contradictory Bible written by 30 different gods who all hate each other. And you are supposed to walk into that mess and just know what to do on 3 hours of sleep. No wonder so many people say, maybe I will just get a cat. Let us talk about the ghost in the room. The older generation. Their voices live rent-free in your nervous system. Sometimes you hear the gentle parenting audio. Sometimes you hear the old script. When I was your age, I already worked and took care of my siblings. We did not talk back to our parents. In my day, no one cared about feelings. Part of you is angry. You think exactly, that is why I go to therapy now. Part of you is scared they are right. You worry that in trying to avoid their mistakes, you will create new ones. That your kid will grow up saying, my mom never said no to me, and honestly, I wish she had. You are stuck between two extremes: authoritarian and anxious permissive, emotionally numb and emotionally flooded. You do not want to repeat. You also do not want to overcorrect so far that your child cannot function in a world that will not always be gentle. And here is the secret terror. You already feel like a barely functioning adult yourself. You lose your keys in your own house. You forget to drink water. You dissociate in the shower. You rehearse texts before sending them. You feel like the child version of you is still at the wheel half the time. How are you supposed to be somebody's safe place when you are still learning how to be safe to yourself? This is the double load of being a potential Gen Z parent. You are trying to raise a human and raise your inner child at the same time. You are trying to read parenting books and reprogram your own attachment style in the same brain. No wonder the idea of becoming a parent feels less like starting a family and more like opening a group project with your own trauma. So, what do you do with all this? Here is the part the internet does not sell very well because it is not aesthetic and does not fit into a 30-second sound. The goal is not to become a perfect healed parent. The goal is to become a good enough human who can own their mess in front of a smaller human. Good enough sounds like a downgrade when you are addicted to self optimization. It is actually the only standard a nervous system can survive. Good enough means this: you will lose your temper sometimes. You will say something you wish you had not. You will hand over the tablet just to get some silence. You will snap, and then later feel a wave of shame and want to Google 11 ways you are ruining your child and how to fix it. But then, instead of burying it, you circle back. You say, I am sorry, I shouted. That was about me being tired, not you being bad. You let your kids see that repair is possible. You do not model perfection, you model humanity. Good enough means some nights you are a gentle parenting saint, narrating feelings like a therapist in a cardigan. Some nights you are ordering takeout, letting the dishes sit, and your best act of love is not taking your exhaustion out on anyone. Good enough means remembering your kid does not need you to heal every wound before it happens. They need you to stop the worst patterns and to be willing to own it when you trip over the smaller ones. You are not the final boss of trauma. You are one person with a bit more language and a bit more awareness, trying to move the needle one small click in a kinder direction. And yes, that might still feel terrifying, because no one will ever clap for your most important parenting moments. No one will post a highlight reel of you taking a deep breath and choosing not to repeat a sentence you heard as a child. There is no viral sound for you admitting you were wrong and apologizing to a 7-year-old. There is no satisfying before and after photo of the way you slowly stop talking to yourself like your parents talked to you. But that is the quiet part that changes everything. Not the perfect lunchboxes, or zero screen time, or color coded chore charts. The way you talk to the small person in front of you and the small person inside you. This is simply chaos, the channel for people who are low key, terrified of becoming parents because they remember exactly what hurt and they never want to be on the other side of that look on a child's face. If you have ever caught yourself thinking, I would rather have no kids than risk messing one up the way I was messed up. If you have ever watched a gentle parenting video while hearing your mother's voice in your head and felt split in half. If you are exhausted by the idea of being a cycle breaker and also stubbornly proud that you are even trying, this episode was for you. You do not have to be healed to be worthy of love. You do not have to be perfect to be a safer parent than the ones before you. You just have to be willing to do something radical and very boring. Be kind more often than you are cruel. Repair more often than you deny. Speak softer to yourself so that when a smaller voice copies you, what they hear is not hatred. If that hit a nerve, you know what to do. Leave a comment about the wildest parenting rule you grew up with that you are absolutely not bringing into the next generation. Hit like so the algorithm keeps accidentally recommending healing content to people who think they are too broken to be parents. And subscribe to Simply Chaos for more long form, nervous breakdowns disguised as social commentary. Because the truth is, you do not have to become the perfect parent your inner child dreamed of. You just have to be a little less scary, a little more honest, and a lot more willing to say the sentence most of us never heard: I am sorry, I am learning, and you are safe with me anyway.